Willie D Live.
Perhaps it worked out the way it did because you wouldn't have been a good father at that time because you wasn't prepared mentally to be a good father. Perhaps you would have raised a child that hated your guts.
Exactly.
And,
Something.
now you have a better chance. What'd you call it?
A granddaddy daddy.
Granddaddy daddy. So now you being a granddaddy daddy, you got the skills and, you can give that proper information and instructions to someone that's gonna love you and look at you like the greatest guy ever, because, you have that experience to go with that. And I got the name of your album, the name of your movie too.
What is it?
It's your life story. It's already in one of the albums. Life is Too Short.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
It is.
That's it. That's the book. That's the film. Life is Too Short. Now you got a dope title and you got your name within the title. That's it right there. This is a question that normally would be asked in the very beginning of an interview, but I wanted to ask it toward the end because I like being different. Who raised you?
Well, both of my parents were very hands-on. My grandmothers were very instrumental in my life. But a lot of what I am comes from my mother, no doubt about it. But my father was a really good example of, a success story. And I just wanted to, I had the kind of parents who were like, you're going to be something of some kind of follow through on something. You're not going to just half-ass anything and you're not going to, settle for less. So that is what I was working with. I say I give a lot of credit to my mother because I had one of those mothers who, she literally was a college graduate who had a career. And when she had her second kid, that's me, she quit her job for 4 years. And why'd you quit your job for 4 years? So I could nurture this kid before he goes out into the world, into kindergarten. I just wanted, she sent me to school.
That's that Bay mentality.
She sent me to school pre-educated, man, and it just really helped me. Yeah. It really helped a lot. Like she sent me to preschool already reading books and doing math already. So it was a real, it made shit easy. It just made shit easy. So I think that's exactly what I'm doing with my kid, and making sure that she's pre-educated before she goes out into the hands of, the elementary school education system. My mother did something that I think she worked my brain, do this puzzle, play this game right here. Just a game, mind game, a game that works your mind, little game, little intellectual games that you'll be like, that little nerdy ass shit, I'm not giving that to my kid. That shit, it trains the brain, you know what I mean? My mother would give us books at a young age. I remember the first book that I remember her giving me that really I was like, why would she do this? But then later on in life, I knew why she did it. She gave me a book called Man, Child in the Promised Land. I probably was in 5th grade or something. She's like, just read this book. And it was a real book about a kid who was bad and got really bad and then figured the shit out and did some really good things in life. And it was just, she was just trying to show me you could take that route or you could take this route, you know what I mean? And it just options. And she would give us a lot of books that would make you a thinker as a kid. And it helped. It really helped. So I still have that appetite to read books, whether they're right now. I really don't like reading make-believe stories because I went through this whole phase in life where I just want to absorb as much as possible of what really happened because all we have is his story. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out what my story is. But in order to get to my story, I got to read all the little versions of his story, And it's just crazy that they named history his story. Mm-hmm. Why can't it just be true story? But that ain't what it is. So you just got to put your own puzzle together of all this shit that's out there and figure it out. And I think that I started diving into just figuring out what did men do, what are men doing, what are people doing, and that kind of like got me better, like got me to be a better person later in life when I started reading about history, you know?
Yeah. At what point did you start reading about Iceberg Slim?
That's another thing. Like my mother actually turned me on to Donald Goines and
Is that right?
Yes. She was like, read this shit. Like not to be like you're gonna be a little pimp or nothing, but just like because all those books have tragic endings.
Right.
And she was saying, read this as a lesson. Like you read Donald Goines' first book, Dope Fiend. That's a fucked up story.
Was that your inspiration for the song?
No, not at all. I took from a lot of those books the colorful characters, but then I also lived in Oakland, California, and Oakland, California is way more graphic than a Donald Goines book. It's like Donald Goines was writing Detroit stories, but you know, you could just go touch the pavement in Detroit and be in a fucking Donald Goines book. You know what I mean? Like he was really writing his environment. So when you listen to some Too Short, you're really listening to Oakland, and I just think reading those kind of books later in my life helped me to interpret how I wanted to translate street life into music, you know?
Yeah.
And the language of Iceberg Slim, you could read Iceberg Slim, read it, and you fucking be like, man, I heard this in a Too Short song. Like it reverberates in the music, and I don't know if my mother was what her intentions were, but you know, I think she was on some scared straight shit. Like, you know, a mother, she's like, let me give you a book about a dope fiend so you'll never become a dope fiend. Because he goes into the dark side of what that habit is. And I promise you, I never wanted to fucking try heroin because of them books.
Yeah.
I never wanted. Man, you could tell me heroin is a $1 million check. I don't give two fucks about it. I've read the book about what this does to you. So I would never do it.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, Short. And
Oh, yeah.
if there's anything that we want you to never stop doing is don't stop rapping.
Don't stop rapping.
Don't stop rapping, man.
For sure.
We appreciate you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Tasha. No more talk.